How's it going, everyone? This is Griever here, bringing you guys the latest behind-the-bar reviews for One Piece. One Piece chapter 941. Let's get right into it because, is anybody feeling like we're starting to get into that point of oversaturation? Like, we jump around so much in this chapter, and this has been happening a lot in Wano because there are so many variables, and Oda has done a fantastic job of balancing reoccurring characters from previous arcs, characters from previous sagas, pre-time skip, all this stuff, utilizing cover pages well and just bringing things back to the forefront all the time. He has done a remarkable job of keeping focus on an insane amount of characters over 900 chapters. However, here, Wano, he is trying, it feels, to jam-pack so much, just throw everything at us. There is so much in Wano he wants to cover, and he just isn't settling for a slow-paced chapter. He's not settling for just follow one character chapter anymore. He's got to keep cutting away, and this chapter is showcasing the issues with that, to me anyways. It's also showcasing some issues. This chapter wasn't really very good in the sense that it's hard oversaturation, and the other issue is his use of foreshadowing and mystery. Oda has always been one of the best at doing callbacks and doing amazing foreshadowing for years in the future, right? Here, though I know we have to do this all in one arc, a lot of this needs to be discovered, but the whole reveal of the courtesan being, we all know, right? It's Hiyori. We all know that. So, it's Hiyori, right? Or she's claimed to be Hiyori, either way. But then we also have the reveal of who are the other members of the Red Sheaths, the Red Scabbards. And now here we have the reveal. We had the reveal of Ashura-doji, or Boy Ashura, whatever you want to call him. We know that the Kappa Kawamatsu is in the prison and stuff, so we don't know what he looks like, but he's still there. But we know where he is and who he's affiliated with. And we also we know who the killer guy was. We know who Midnight Oxboy is now, and all these things. So I'm sitting back here, and I'm looking at Wano as a whole, and I'm going, there isn't enough time for us to care. Like, we're getting these mysteries, and no better way to showcase this. Before we get into full chapter, I wanted to bring this up now. At the beginning of the chapter, we get Orochi, and we get the head of the Oniwaban group, Fuka something too long to pronounce. The guy with the really big head. The head of the Oniwaban. And he is there basically saying, look, we captured Midnight Oxboy. We captured Ox 3 Boy, right? And Orochi doesn't care. He's still distraught over... Orochi's a joke character. He's a gag. He's got the Yamato no Orochi devil fruit, but he's a shogun in name only. It doesn't seem to be a... He seems to love living on his laurels sort of idea, the winner of a stolen throne sort of idea. Someone placed there and acts like they're king of their castle. And we see Kiroshiro is there as well. And we get this dynamic where he doesn't really care about Midnight Oxboy. All he cares about Komurasaki. Why did she have to die? Blah, blah, blah. They try to explain to him all the politics. Then we get the whole... But we found out his identity, and it's crucial. And then we see just a quick little panel of someone sitting there in chains. And I'm sitting there thinking, who could this be? This could finally... Maybe it was Odin all along. Maybe Odin came back. Maybe Odin's there once again. Or it could be somebody else, somebody we haven't seen, but the name will ring true. It could be like It could be the father of Odin. What happened to Odin's father? Do we even know that? Like the original head of the Kozuki clan? Do we know who that was? There is a multitude of characters that it could have been, and the fact is they don't say the name. They cut to that and they say, oh, well, what should we do with him? And, oh, that fool is alive. How is he still alive? And they're all like, wow, 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 wow. And at the end of the chapter, it's revealed to be what everybody thought. Tonoyasu. And it feels the same as the whole courtesan thing. Like, Oda's laying it on thick as though he's going to pull the wool over our eyes, but he's giving us the obvious answer. What was the point, especially in this chapter? It felt no worse than in this chapter because it literally happens within 20 pages of themselves. It's mystery, shrouded in mystery. We can't reveal that character quite yet, even if it's laid on pretty thick who it is. But literally at the end of the chapter, they reveal it, who it is. And it's Shinobu and them tell us exactly why this is a big deal. And honestly, it doesn't feel like that big a deal to me. Orochi's brother, which is what I thought Tonoyasu might turn out to be, seemed to be would hold a little more weight. But we haven't known this character long enough for this. And the fact of the matter is that this foreshadowing was done terribly. Why block out his name at the beginning of the chapter? Why bother with that scene at all? Or why do the whole cutaway where, have you ever seen, what episode is it? There's episodes of animes where people will say something and then they're like, huh? I couldn't, the whole Zangetsu thing in Bleach. Like, what are you talking about? My name is... And then I couldn't hear his name. And we as the audience can't hear his name, but we saw his lips move. They do that same thing here in the manga, in the chapter, and 10 pages later, just 10 pages later. So what was the point? We could have still had the scene, but we didn't need to do that foreshadowing thing, that big thing that's supposed to be a reveal or a growth of a character or something. This chapter was very haphazard. I feel like Oda really rushed this. Pacing's all over the place. Randomly, Brook was gone too. Just all this stuff. When did Beppo and everybody get kidnapped? There's just so much stuff going on in Wano. Too much to cover. And Oda's not spending time drawing it all. He's just not. He's like, nope. You're just going to have to go with the flow. One line of dialogue. Here's what happened. Keep going. We're never going to see that happen. Keep going. And I understand he wants to make Wano great and jam-packed full of amazing characters and wants to get to the big fights and the big climaxes. But it feels too rushed. Oda, this is One Piece. Nobody's gonna cancel on you, man. If we're starting a little slow, you can slow down. I'm fine with that to get more invested. This just feels just way too fast paced because after that scene with Orochi, as already described, the rest of the chapter simply goes on to say we see Shutamaru. Apparently, those notes worked and stuff. Well, we kind of knew what those were, so I won't call it foreshadowing. But Kinemon. Hold'em set fire to the Curry Forest, and so now Shutamaru's pissed. And then we see Kinemon and Inarashi. They're like, oh, well, he attacked sooner than we expected, but we better go head out right now, We see, Brook. Okay, apparently Brook went and Kinemon asked him for some reason to basically get food. And maybe, but they don't even mention, are they transporting said food? As they're saying, I am hungry, give me food or I will curse you. Brook's been there at the cemetery or whatever, the gravestones. And people have been leaving food because he says, I'm hungry, sort of idea. And it's is this how they're being fed? Well, they could at least mention that because, why food specifically? And there seems to be a ton of food just laying there to waste. Wouldn't they transport this to Leftover Town or somewhere where people that are starving? So I'm sitting there what was the point? That doesn't make sense. Or it's not that it doesn't make sense. It's that I want to know, what was Brook doing? What was the point of the food? And so he sees Zoro and stuff, and then even before this, they're having Komorosaki's funeral, and we do see Uda in prison and stuff, and we see Luffy, Queen found out, and he's very distraught by Komorosaki, and we knew that was going to happen. And I'm really enjoying Queen. I love Queen's reactions. I'm really enjoying Queen. I didn't think I would enjoy Queen as much as I am. Queen might possibly be, depending on how King behaves, Queen might possibly be my favorite Calamity, because forget your Mammoth Boys for a second. Go see Roger's Space Channel if you want to see the Mammoth Boys in action, but Jack to me doesn't do it for me. But yeah, Queen is doing it for me. I really enjoy Queen. But also we found out that clearly Luffy and Hirogoro, they're sitting there, round as all hell, if Luffy could go Tank Man full version again, that's what he would do. In this state, because they just overate themselves and everyone notices, and Queen's like, how did you guys get so fat overnight? And apparently the red bean paste, the the thing that I don't know how to say it, but it's the thing that Queen was eating, and it's the thing that Big Mom is coming to Udon for, that she wants to eat. Now, people have surmised this may be a hunger craving, or may not be. She might be able to eat something else. She wants this, don't get me wrong, it's a craving, but it might not be the hunger pains like we saw before. Remember, that might be tied more to her personality as it was, not so much now. It's hard to say. Either way, so all this happens, and as I said, this is only in the first 10 pages. We're just jumping and jumping and jumping, and we see that we're going to see Komorosaki's funeral start happening. And such. But before that, we jump over once again. Brooke and Zoro and stuff, because Brooke, I guess, walked into the house. Well, wow, I'm sorry, I didn't know anybody was living here. It's like, oh, Zoro. And he's like, Brooke, what are you doing? And then we see Zoro waking up, and he's got, like, Toko, the little girl, like, sleeping on her side, sort of drooling on him. And we see Komurasaki laid out, sprawled against him in a loving, embrace sort of idea. And everyone's like, the fans are just going to ship and ship and ship away for days. And Komurasaki even brings up the fact that, I'm sorry, I was very cold in the middle of the night, but this was probably my favorite part of the chapter, honestly, was the Brooke, Zoro, and Komurasaki exchange. Because Brooke even says, like, oh, a beautiful lady, will you show me your panties sort of idea. And they're like, wow, a ghost, sort of idea. And we also see that Brooke brings up, like, well, it was just from the capital, and Komurasaki, the funeral, the most beautiful. You look so very beautiful, even almost as beautiful as the beloved Komurasaki who's dead. And we see the ... So, once again, confirm that this person may or may not be Hiyori specifically. I'm still holding out. I mean, 95%, okay, Oda has told us, but something about that just feels too pudding-esque, and we just had that. So I'm withholding judgment. I think there's more to her story than what she has told, and she might not be as much of an airhead. She might not be as evil as she was perceived to be back as the courtesan and proper, and she might not be as so waifu material as she's been displaying since she met up with Zoro. Now, during all this, we see that she says, I was really cold, I'm so sorry, Zoro-san, but also, men usually love it when I sleep next to them, so it's fine. So I was like, well, at least you know what you were doing. I mean, that escalated quickly. At least you're not a total ditz, like, you know exactly what you're doing. Then they bring up, Brooke brings up that they found Midnight Boy, they found Midnight Ox Boy, and Komurasaki, or Hiyori's reaction to it is very interesting. It's quite, like, okay, she seems very, like, Midnight Boy was captured, impossible, so does she know it was Toniyasu the whole time? And why would she know this? And see, once again, I think she's more informed. I think all these are just multiple faces or facades to hide her true goal, her true self. She could still turn out to be evil, but I doubt it, because we already did that with Pudding. I'm more under the impression that she's hiding who she truly is to maybe protect the real Hiyori, or maybe to get the real Hiyori back from Orochi's clutches, or maybe there's a multitude of reasons that I would prefer over the simple, oh yeah, it's her the whole time, and she's just walking around telling random samurai who the hell she is. Yeah, that doesn't fly with me. So this is a facade, in my opinion. And we see, like, Zoro's like, Toniyasu, really? That's who Midnight Boy is? And he's going to be executed and stuff. And Toko's like, well, that's my dad. I got to go. And she's smiling and laughing like, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. And she's running. So everyone's like, Toko, wait. And Zoro's like, ah, damn it. And he's like, all right, you can't go into the capital alone. I'm going. And I guess Brooke's going to follow them. So now we have another group of characters to follow. And so this is just, this whole chapter, as you can tell, is just going all over the place. It just really is. We jump over to the flower cabinet, we jump over to the funeral, and we see that everyone's like, Komurasaki is still going to be, cremated, or go to the cremation or the cemetery or whatever, for the prisoners, even though she was beloved by the people, and everyone's like, why? And it's like, well, she backhanded Orochi pretty much. She stood up to him. Shouldn't have done that, right? Like, it's still an insult to the Shogun's way of life. So even though the Shogun, Orochi's not okay with this himself, it's still, you know what I mean? It's just a weird dynamic. Anyway, so they're doing this because this is very much a dictatorship sort of country right now. It's acting similar to one of those. It's very tyrannical in that way. And they're like, nope, it doesn't matter who you are, beloved by the people, it doesn't matter. You're going to prison sort of idea. It would be the same thing if when Princess Diana, like someone beloved by the people, was killed, and then adding insult to injury, she was, not buried, properly. She didn't have the proper funeral that she deserved, sort of idea. So, still had a major funeral through the streets, though. And during all this, we see that Toniyasu has been, in his hair, he's got this crazy spiky afro-looking thing, which is kind of cool. He looks kind of cool, and he's been beat up, and he's hanging there, and he's being, he's crucified. And he's hanging there, as a symbol. He's up way high on a big wooden pedestal sort of idea. And he's saying there, it's I'm glad you guys haven't forgotten about me, but I've got a couple things to apologize for and one other thing to say to that stupid Shogun Orochi. I'm like, all right, cool. He's got nerves of steel. The man got balls. Got to appreciate it. I like Toneyasu. I just hate the way this reveal was, as I explained at the beginning of this review. And we do see all this transpiring, and all the people still remember him. The people still say, and we get the reveal from Shinobu and stuff, and Robin's asking about it and all all these things. And basically, he was a daimon alongside of Kozuki Oden. So potentially, once again, translations aside, potentially what this means is that when Oden was just a daimon before he was before he took over more so, he might have worked alongside him as an equal daimon sort of idea. And then later on, when things happen, of course, worked alongside him. But apparently he was a very strict man. He had very harsh regulations. They don't say he was cruel or unkind or a bad person. They just say he was a very strict man. I can't believe that's who it is. And this is Shinobu talking about all this and saying, the hair, now I know who this is. And so I guess his hair was a bit of a symbol, it's a bit of a tell, and that's why he always wore the handkerchief or whatever, or the bandana around his head. And so this whole time he was an original daimon of a big region and all that stuff in town, blah, blah, blah. They're all talking about it, it's great, but he's going to be executed. So, we see Toko at the end of the chapter. She's running, and trying to catch him in time. And everyone's been making the jokes in the comments. Zoro is following Toko, so he'll be at the opposite end. He'll end up at the opposite end of Wano rather than towards the flower capital by trying to follow someone. Because Toko will turn left, Zoro will turn left, and somehow end up on the right path. That's just what he does. He got lost riding on the back of an animal going in the right direction. So who knows with Zoro? And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the chapter. He says, I got a couple things I want to apologize to the people for. Glad my name hasn't been forgotten sort of idea. It's incredible. And I also got one thing to say to Orochi, and then I will basically die smiling. And he's laughing at his execution. So very similar to Roger, very similar to Luffy, very similar to members of the D clan. Toneyasu, that's supposed to be his full name, but I'm just sitting back, and his actual name was Lord Yasui or something like that. So potentially he does have it, but not everyone who smiles, has a D in their name. But it's just kind of like, okay, so I'm seeing the similarities there with that. A lot of people are bringing that up. Goldie Roger's execution, similar idea. So that's pretty much the end of the chapter, guys. Once again, I didn't really care for the chapter. I felt like all these new, like when we first got to Wano, we had all these potentials. There were 3 great samurai that we knew nothing about, and then it's boom, here they are. Well, there's still some member of the Red Scabbards. No, here they are. Nekomamushi and Urashi are the other 2. Kiku's one of them. Blah, blah, blah. The courtesan, is she really dead? Is she not? Oh yeah, she's alive. Well, where's Hiyori? Is she still alive? Is she working on it? Nope, there's Hiyori. She's alive. She was courtesan the whole time. And same here, like the last one, the killer in the streets. Oh yeah, we're curing that at the same time that we're doing the whole Hiyori reveal. And now the last mystery, I would say, in Wano that we originally had at the beginning is Midnight Oxboy, 3-hour Oxboy. And there's Toneyasu. Like, I just feel like all these payoffs are coming too quickly. We haven't had enough investment, enough time to really ponder and go through and all that stuff. So what do you guys think down in the comment section down below? I already talked about this enough at the beginning of the review. What do you guys think? You love it? You hate it? Please like, subscribe, comment. As always, it's very much appreciated. This has been Griever with chapter 941 of One Piece. Still love One Piece, just disappointed with the chapter, and as I've already explained my thoughts on why. So anyways, guys, drink responsibly as always. See you back here next time.